Hey, what's up everyone? Danny Lightning here. Today we're checking out Fifine's little gaming mixer, the Fifine SC3, and this thing's actually pretty cool. I do have one complaint about this. We'll talk about that, but we will get to that later in the video. But let's go ahead and check this thing out. This will allow you to hook in one microphone, and it gives you about 50 decibels of gain, which is more than enough to run a SM7B if you're using it properly. And you know, you can use something like this little Fifine. You can buy this mixer for about 50 bucks, or for about 100 bucks, you can get a package where you get the AM8 microphone from Fifine, an XLR cable, and the mixers. I'll put some links in the video's description and the pinned comment where you guys can get these microphones, the mixer, and everything else. I'm also using the Fifine boom arm. This thing is awesome. The mixer's kind of covering the boom arm so you can't see it. Let me move it down for a second. But we got that nice big old heavy duty Fifine boom arm up there. That thing holds very heavy microphones. But the mixer allows you to hook in one microphone and one microphone only. So if you need something that gives you more than one mic, then well, unfortunately, this may not be your best bet. But if you only need to hook up one microphone, this little thing's pretty cool. It's got built-in auto tune. That's right, auto tune. It's pretty weird and crazy. It's got a voice changer. It's got RGB lighting. Now, I've seen some reviews saying you cannot turn off the RGB lighting. All you do is hold this button down, and that RGB lighting does turn off. So that will change the color. Let me turn it back on. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Mr. Button. Uh-oh. I guess you just tap it to turn it back on and not hold it down. Anyways, so you can just change the colors, right? We can do pink. We can do all kinds of things. I mean, there's all these different modes that change colors and breathe. And, you know, you just kind of find the one you like. I personally like the rainbow mode. So let's go back to that one. Let me find the rainbow. This is not a Skittles commercial, I promise. I know it's around here somewhere. For some reason, I always like the rainbow colors. There's a lot of these, all right? There are a lot of different settings for the RGB. So on the back of this unit, you notice you've got your XLR or line input for a microphone. You've got a dynamic or a condenser microphone switch. So if you're using a dynamic, I would choose dynamic. If you're using a condenser, I would choose condenser. You got a line in where you can hook your phone or your tablet into this thing. You got your headphones, you got your line out to set it up to a set of speakers, and then you got your USB-C to send it to your PC. In the box, you get your USB-C to USB-A/C cable. It's got an adapter on one end. You get the mixer, and you get a 3.5 millimeter audio cable. So that's what's in the box right there, plus the instruction manual and all that good stuff. Now, up here on the top left corner, we have our 48 volt phantom power button. So if you're using a condenser microphone or something that requires phantom power, you need to make sure you turn that on. Dynamic microphones do not require phantom power, so you only use that with a condenser mic. The next button is our auto tune. There's like 12 different keys, so if you turn on auto tune, hey, yeah. I think you got to intentionally sing bad to really get auto tune to work. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Wish that I was on a rocky top down in the Tennessee hills. Auto-tune, guys. Let's turn that back off. Hold that down when you want to turn it off, and we are back to a normal speaking voice. Then you have custom button A, custom button B, custom button C, and custom button D. So you can load whatever sound. You can make some air horns or whatever you want. You can load those up on these buttons. So let's go ahead and load up a sound on custom button A. Now this is actually pretty easy. You hold this down until it turns white, and you can either speak into the microphone, or I believe whatever audio is playing through this thing at the time, that will be recorded. And then when you're done with the recording, you just let go of it. Now, I think you only get like 15 or 20 seconds of recording time, so that is something to keep in mind. But let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to push it down until it turns white, and then it's recording. Wish that I was on a rocky top down in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoggy smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bills. And that was not a very good singing job, but it doesn't really matter. Now let's press the button, it should play that back. Wish that I was on old Rocky Top down in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoggy smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bills. Alright, that works pretty darn good, I would say. Over here on this side, we have our voice changer, so let's change it to the male voice. So,
alright, this is the male voice. Alright, I don't know. Male, okay.
This is the female voice. I don't think I sound like a female. I sound more like a weird chipmunk with a deep voice. I mean, deep for a chipmunk, not deep for a human.
Next up, we have the robot voice. Destroy, destroy, destroy. Now we have the monster voice. This is the monster voice.
Now we're the baby. The baby. Hey, I'm a baby. Okay, yeah, a baby.
And then finally, we have the elder. So those are the voice-changing voices you're going to get right there. And of course, when you want to turn these off, you have to
hold the button down. So hold the button down to turn things off. If you just tap it, it's just going to keep changing through the settings. Hold down to actually turn off. Now this very first slider, this is the microphone gain. So the higher you turn this up, the louder your microphone is going to get. Now I've only got this turned up maybe 25% of the way, and I'm peaking around -10. So that's giving me more than enough gain to run something like the AM8. And so right here we have a mute button. Let's test that. We're going to mute and unmute ourselves. So here we go. This is the microphone, and we're going to unmute right now. Blah 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 blah. So that's the mute and unmute mute and unmute button right there. I think I said that wrong, but that's okay. Next, we have a line in. So anything you have plugged into here that's playing, like, I don't know, somebody else's voice or music or anything like that. Let's just say you got your phone in here, you pull up Spotify or YouTube music or something like that. This will adjust the volume of everything that's playing through that. The next slider is our headphone volume. So whatever I'm hearing right here, if I can't really hear myself or can't hear the audio playing through this, I just move this slider up, and all right, now I'm able to hear myself in my headphones. And if I had something plugged into the back of this that was playing music or some sort of audio, that would allow me to hear that as well. So that's what that slider's for. And this button right here is the microphone monitor. So if you want to hear yourself through your headphones, you need to hold the microphone monitor button down and turn that on. If that's not on, you're not going to hear yourself. But if you turn that on, you will hear yourself through the headphones or whatever it is you're recording. You can monitor what the microphone is picking up by holding that button down until it turns white. Now the other buttons here, this one's a mute, this one's a mute, this one's a mute, and that one is the microphone monitor. So they're all mutes except for this guy right here. And that's pretty much the deal with the buttons on the unit. So yeah, we tried the auto-tune. I probably sounded horrible at singing. I don't know. Auto-tune, maybe it fixed it and made me sound good. If you intentionally sound bad, I think that's how you get that T. I don't know. I don't really mess with auto-tune, to tell you the truth. Normally I sing without it. Usually I'm just like, wish that I was on old Rocky Top down in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoggy smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bills. I'd rather just do that than play with the auto-tune, but hey man, if you want the auto-tune, it's there. Now if I ever sell this to somebody, if I ever get rid of this, I'm going to hold down the button and record things like, hey man, you suck, or your mama's glass is so thick, she looks at the map and sees people waving. If I ever sell this thing, that's what I'm going to do. But generally when Fifine sends me something, and they did actually send me this for free, but when they send me stuff, I usually keep it. I actually really love their stuff. I love the Fifine microphones and equipment. I mean, this is not really what I would call a pro quality setup, but the truth is, you know, you're going to have to spend a lot more money than this to get a pro quality setup. How much more, you ask? Well, let's find out. This is about 99 bucks for the package with the microphone, the cable, and the mixer. So if I were going to go buy the cheapest pro quality stuff out there, let me tally up the price. Is that the right word? Tally up? Add up? I don't know. We're going to find out what the cheapest, in my opinion, the cheapest pro quality setup that's worth getting would cost you. Alright, so my budget pro setup comes in at just under $300, and there's a couple of things I would actually add to this that would push this over $300. So item number one, Shure SM57, that's 109 bucks. Love that little microphone. It's great for recording voices or instruments. It is a really, 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 really good microphone. The President of the United States normally talks on that, plus other world leaders when they're up there on the podium talking. Next, we got the Focusrite Scarlett Solo 4th generation. That'll only allow you to hook up one microphone. If you want one that does two, that's going to raise you up to about 250 bucks instead of 129. And then number three, we got our world's best XLR cable for $34. And all of that comes in at just under 300 bucks. For $99, you can get this entire package where you get the mixer, the microphone, and the cable. Then you just need to go out and buy a boom arm. I mean, Fifine has that awesome little boom arm for 60 bucks. I did do a review on some other boom arms. One cheap boom arm was awesome, but you know, you can look up my boom arm reviews if you're interested. But that Fifine boom arm that you can see right there, I mean, this thing is heavy duty. It holds really heavy microphones, like 3-4 pounds, no problem. It's just a nice boom arm. It's a really nice boom arm for 60 bucks. In my opinion, it's a pro quality boom arm. So who is this for? This is for somebody who's running a YouTube channel where you're going to be speaking into the microphone. This is for gamers, YouTubers, and podcasters, right? This is a really cheap, really nice little budget setup. Of course, you know, pro gear, you go out and you buy an SM57. Those are known to last 20, 30, 40 years, right? Something like this, you're probably going to get a few or several years out of it. Now, I have not had a Fifine product go bad on me. I've got pretty much all of their microphones, at least all of the latest ones, and they're great. I got a couple of their audio interfaces and mixers and everything else, and I've never had a real major problem with any of them. Now, the AM8, these knobs used to be all loosey-goosey, and they wouldn't hold the microphone and it would flop around. Now they fixed that. They found out that people were complaining. Now you can just, I mean, you can tighten that thing to where it just doesn't move. So whatever the problem was with these knobs, as soon as Fifine found out about it, noticed about it, as soon as Fifine noticed or heard about the problem and that people were complaining, they went out and they fixed that. It's damn good sound for not very much money. So should you run out and buy this for 99 bucks, or should you go for a pro quality setup? I mean, for somebody doing YouTube or a podcast or something, especially if you're just starting out and you can't afford to go out and spend $300, $400, $500 bucks on pro audio, 99 bucks. This thing gets you off to a crazy good start. Now, if you got the money and you want a pro setup, by all means, go get yourself a pro setup, right? There's nothing wrong with buying really high quality, really nice stuff. But when you can't afford it, or you just don't want to spend that kind of money, this is the kind of thing that will get you off to a great start, and it'll actually sound really nice. Seriously though, if I had $99 to spend and that was my budget, I would be happy as hell with this setup. I would just be thrilled to have something like this for 99 bucks. I mean, back in the day, you couldn't get an entire package like this for 99 bucks, and if you did, it was complete crap. I mean, these cheap microphones, cheap interfaces, and when I say cheap, we're talking about inexpensive. The inexpensive interfaces, inexpensive microphones. Back in the day, they were horrible. I mean, they were basically dog crap back in the day, but these things keep getting better and better and better. I mean, the Fifine stuff especially, they just keep making nicer things. I mean, these are really good products for the money, like really good for the money. You know, I do have an SM57 here. I got a little windscreen on it. That's like an additional 20 or 30 bucks if you want the windscreen. But let me go ahead and plug this in so you can hear the difference between like the AM8 and a 100% pro quality microphone, and you may be surprised how nice that sounds compared to this. Alright, so now I'm speaking into the SM57 with a little windscreen on it, and this is the way it sounds. Now you can mount these on a boom arm. I would have to go through all my drawers and figure out where I have the handheld microphone mount to put on my boom arm, and I'm too lazy to do that, so we're just going to handhold this thing. Now one thing you got to remember though, this microphone here is XLR only, to where the AM8, it's XLR and USB, so if you don't have an interface and you just have 50 bucks to spend, you can plug that little AM8 directly in your computer and you're good to go. I mean, microphones always sound better on XLR. You're usually getting better quality components inside of an actual interface or mixer compared to the audio interface that's built into a USB microphone. When you plug it in through XLR, you're not using the internal interface, you're using the one you plug it into, and that's why you normally get better sound because, well, on the USB microphones, they are generally trying to keep the cost down and put an interface inside of the microphone. So you're not always getting the highest quality components in the built-in interface on a USB microphone, to where if you buy like a mixer or an actual audio interface, you're normally getting much better components inside. So yeah, anyways, let's switch back to the AM8. Alright, so now we are back on the AM8. Hopefully I got the volume back to where it was. I probably should have paid attention to where the slider was, but it should be pretty darn close. But honestly, I mean, if you compare the sound of this to that, you know, they both sound really nice. I mean, they're very good sounding microphones. This is 50 bucks. You can plug it directly into your computer or into your interface when you get one. So honestly, these are great deals for very little money. So if you're somebody who's YouTubing or podcasting or just speaking into a microphone, this is a really great setup for $99. The only problem I can find is I keep hearing a little bit of a static sound. It seems like if I move or touch this, it may be picking up a little bit of static electricity, which is getting back into the recording. Now, maybe if I set this on something other than this, like a mat, maybe if I had this on a hard surface or a complete piece of plastic, maybe it would stop doing that. I can't quite figure out what's causing that little staticky sound that I'm hearing every once in a while during the recording. But I do notice when I move or if I'm touching it, sometimes that's happening. So there is something giving me a little bit of a static sound. You've probably heard it a few times during this recording. You know, that may be a deal breaker for some people. For other people, they may not care too much, but that is the one issue I can find with this. Everything else about it, I really like it. It's a really cool little deal, except for I am getting that occasional little static sound, and well, that kind of is what it is, I guess. So the honest truth is, and here's our conclusion, I really like this thing. Well, should you buy this? Alright, so here comes our conclusion. So should you buy this? Well, number one, if that little static sound doesn't bother you too much, maybe it's just mine, I don't know if they all do that, but if that doesn't bother you too much, yes, you should probably buy one. If you're on a budget, yes, you should probably buy one. These are pretty good little units. I mean, I find the Fifine stuff to be very reliable, and I've had most of mine, or I've had a lot of my Fifine microphones and equipment for 3-4 years. Actually, I don't think I've had one single issue with any of their microphones. I mean, there was one I didn't really like too much because it was really bad with the plosives. It would pop the microphone when you said your P's constantly. So there was one Fifine microphone that I didn't really like, but all the other ones, and that was one of their old ones. I don't even know if they make that one. That was one of their like original microphones. I didn't really care for it, but everything they came out with after that has been awesome. And I just bumped my desk. But bottom line, if you're trying to find something on a budget and that little static sound isn't a big deal to you, then yes, this is probably worth buying. Now, I do believe that little static sound is coming from the interface or the mixer. I've never had that happen with plugging their microphone into my computer on USB or plugging this microphone into another interface. So I think that little static sound is coming from the mixer unit itself, and not the microphone. So you won't get that from the microphone, but you might get that from the interface here, or the mixer, whatever you want to call it. Again, links in the video's description and the pinned comment. You'll find links to these things, plus a bunch of other awesome stuff. Thank you so much for watching. You guys and gals are amazing. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and we will catch you next time. Lightning out. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.